is this? Why do we live in a time and in a place where people who are supposed to be praying for you, the people who are supposed to be interceding for you, the people that are supposed to be standing in agreement with you are the same ones that's trying to come against you? Joseph now shows us that because God was showing him something, he was just excited and he was just thankful for what God was showing him. And now they have come against him. They have started to come and start to plan a plan to get rid of him. The Bible goes on to say that one day Joseph was going to look for his brothers. And now he goes to one man and find out, where are my brothers? And he said, they're down this way. And as he was on his way, the journey to meet his brethren, the brothers conspired against him. They conspired against him and said, why don't we do this? Why don't we kill our own brother? Why don't we now? And then they said, no, let's not kill him. Let's just go ahead and throw him off into this well. And if we throw him off into this well, let's come up with this scenario to tell our father that a bear came along and ate him up. And they do this. And I'll ask you this question on today. Why it seems like that when we're believing God for something, or we're standing and we're trusting God, and it seems like that we're asking God, do you really hear my prayer? God, do you really hear what I am going through? God, do you really hear the things that I'm asking you for? And the question I want to ask you today, what they did to Joseph, and we'll see his story where he was thrown in a well, sold off into slavery, and then he gets to the point where then he was accused of a crime that he didn't even commit. Why do good things happen to bad people? And then in Jacob's situation, why do bad things happen to good people? And he's in this place and he says that, Lord, why have you forsaken me? All I did was just talk about what you showed me. All I did was just trust in what you shared with me. But why do bad things happen to good people? Why do I get to a place in my life where that I seem that my father loves me? I seem that I got a band of brothers around me, but then I get to this place and now everybody is turning their back on me. Why do bad things happen to good people? You're saying, Pastor, say it one more time. Why do bad things happen to good people? I'm glad you asked. Because I want you to know today that nothing just happens. If Joseph had have never been hated, if he had never been persecuted, if he had never been sold off into slavery, if he had never been ended up in prison. Now let me tell you about your own life. If you had never been through some stuff in your life, then you would not be able to understand that why somebody else is going through, and you can relate to why they're going through. If you had never been through any terrible relationships, and then when God bless you with a good one, you can respect the fact that, Lord, I thank you that I don't have to deal with that anymore. Why do bad things happen to good people? Joseph is in this place and he's now asking God, he's questioning God. Lord, I've been good. Lord, I've been faithful, and I'm still having to go through what I am going through. And I have to tell you today that nothing just happens. Everything that you are going through right now, everything that you are facing is all in God's plan. God, why am I having to deal with what I'm dealing with? And I want to tell you today that nothing just happens. In Joseph's life, some of us can relate to the fact that the people you love are the same people that talk about you. The people who you've given everything to. I've given you a part of my life. I've given you a part of my heart, and you still seem to find a way to hurt me. And I was talking to a brother earlier this week, and I said that some of the things that you face in your life is the fact that you had a one-sided relationship. You loved that person, but they didn't love you the same way. A one-sided relationship. Why, God, do I have to go through what I'm going through? Lord, the issues, Lord, the mistakes. Why do I have to go through what I'm going through? Lord, my children are not acting right. Why do I have to go through what I'm going through? Lord, I just can't seem to get this one area of my life in check. Why do I have to go through what I'm going through? I seem that I'm trying to get ahead, and every time I think that this is going right, every time I think that I'm about to get this in order, something else happens. Why do I have to go through what I'm going through? And I want to tell you today that nothing just happens. And we'll see that Joseph is in this place. Can you imagine being incarcerated for 13 years? Seem like you've lost all hope. Seem like that nobody understands what you're going through. Can you get to a place in your life where you're thinking of your loneliness, the separation from others, the quiet time, the tears, the hurt, and the pain, and you're saying, why, God, have you left me? Can you understand that when Jesus was on the cross, and he said to him, he said, Father, why have thou forsaken me? But we get into this stance. And I want to tell you today that nothing just happens. Everything that you are facing, everything that you are facing, everything that you are dealing with is all in God's plans. Nothing just happens. When you were in that place and you were told to go right, but you ended up going left, and you find yourself in an area where you're confused, I'm telling you right now, nothing just happens. You went down the road and somebody told you, don't go that way. And you listen. You turn on the television the next day and you find out that somebody got shot over in that area. Nothing just happens. You were riding down the road and all of a sudden the traffic all stops. And you thought about it, that if I wouldn't have pulled over and to help that good Samaritan on the side of the road, that God would just show you that some cars ended up in an accident and somebody died, but that could have been you. Nothing just happens. And I want to encourage you today that there's some things that you may be going through. And as we look at what Joseph had to endure, Joseph had lost everything. He had a family, he had a loving father, he had a mother, but then something in his life went wrong. Something in his life caused him to fall short. Something in his life caused him to be separated from everything that he knew. Nothing just happens. You get to a place where you're questioning God, you're asking God, why this, why that, why I can't get ahead, why am I continue to still deal with the same old issue? But I'm telling you right now, nothing just happens. You find that Joseph had to go through all of the hell that he went through. He had to go through all of the shortcomings. He had to go through the people turning their back on him. All of a sudden that he said that one day, God, you're going to cause my life to change. You're going to cause something to break in my life that's going to cause me that everything that I went through, everything that I had to deal with, God, you're bringing me to this place, because I'm telling you today that nothing just happened. Everything was in the plan of God. Everything that you had to go through, everything that you had to cry about, everything that you had to tell God why, God said to tell you today, nothing just happens. Joseph, when he was in that place, when he was in that well and he cried out, he said, God, why did my life have to end up to this? Why did my brothers treat me so wrong? God had to remind him. He said, nothing just happened, Joseph. He said that everything that you're going through is in my plans. He said, Joseph, don't worry. But then now Joseph trusting God. He's trusting his word. Then he finds himself getting sold off into slavery. He's had to ask God a question again. Lord, why? Told him, he said, Joseph, trust the plan. Nothing just happens. And he finds himself going to another man's house, working in his house. Then the man's wife tried to take his integrity, tried to get him to do something that he know that is not right to do. Then gets accused and persecuted. Lord, why am I going through all of this? Ends up in prison. I didn't do what they said that I did. I didn't do what they said that I did. But Lord, why am I in this place? Some of you are struggling in areas of your life right now, and God said, I'm allowing you to go through what you're going through because nothing just happened. Everything is in my plans. Everything is going to lead you to your next. Everything that I am allowing you to go through, he said, because if I didn't put the pressure on you, if I didn't allow you to go through what you were going through, you wouldn't be able to handle the next level where I'm getting ready to take you. He says, nothing just happens. After 13 years, after being ostracized, after being cast away, after being his back turned up against the wall, and all he had was just his faith and his trust in God, Joseph is being delivered from the pit, and he is now taken to the palace. And I want you to know today that what you are going through is not by coincidence. Everything that you are facing, everything that you are going through right now, if I had to look back over my life and go back 20 years when I was crying out to God and said, Lord, why do a man have to hurt the way that he is hurting? Lord, I am in my heart hurts. Lord, I am in this that I am away from my children. Lord, my marriage has been broken, but why am I having to go through this kind of pain? And fast forward 20 years later, I hear that voice. It says nothing just happens. Everything that you are going through right now is in God's plans. If I could have went back 20 years ago and I looked at my younger self and said, guess what, son? Everything is going to be all right. Nothing just happens. It's all in God's plan. Don't derail. Don't give up the fight. You go make some mistakes along the way, but I'm telling you right now, nothing just happens. So I'm telling you today, trust the process. God has a plan in store for you. If Joseph knew what he would have had to go through, if Joseph knew all of the things that he had to endure, and in his plan of trusting God, he says, nothing, Joseph, just happened. But listen to me today, my brother and my sister. Everything that you are going through right now is all in God's plans. But somewhere along the way, there are some people who lost their faith. They've lost their fight they lost the will to fight to continue on. But I'm telling you that if you can stay on this path, if you can stay on this journey, God has more in store for you that you can ever imagine. I'm telling you, God is setting you up for your next. God is getting ready to elevate you into levels and to places that you can't even imagine. But you got to stay on the path. If Joseph would have gave up anywhere along the way, he would have missed the promise. And how his story ended, God made him the second in command over an entire nation. I'm telling you, there's something about your fight. There's something about your commitment in telling God that you won't give up today. This message is inspired to help you get to a place where you don't give up. You don't throw in the towel. You don't give in, because God is telling you today that nothing just happens. I want you to take that word today and I want you to hold on to it, because some storms are going to come in your life. There's going to be some problems. There's going to be some things that you're going to have to deal with. But as long as you stay on the path, you're going to find yourself getting into your wealthy place. I pray that you were blessed with this message. And remember this, that nothing just happens.